2.1 Priceless. The word priceless echoed in Oliver's mind as he sat alone on the bridge of the Phoenix, pondering the last day's events. Running his fingers through his spiky brown hair, he felt his chest rise and fall as he took a long, soothing breath. It felt like the first real gulp of oxygen he'd taken since the quest had begun. The last few days had been both an adventure and a nightmare. His parents were gone, snatched by the ruthless Captain Vedrick and his Ubel soldiers. Oliver had fled at his dad's orders, taking his sister Tiffany and two twin brothers, Mason and Austin, with him. It was the first of the 3 getaways they'd made. The second had separated them from Phelan O'Farrell, a wealthy benefactor of his parents' archaeological work, who had gifted them with the very star cruiser he now sat in. The third escape had been from an army of blue soldiers. He shook his head. Blue men. How could that be? It hadn't been paint, and it wasn't some sort of body art. It was their actual skin color. Regardless, Oliver couldn't shake the sight of over 100 of them, with spears and torches, surrounding the ship, ready to attack. And now here they were on course for the planet Evad. Oliver was certain that the Ubel would take his parents, Elliot and Laura Wikk, there. That's where the clues led. He pondered those facts. At the start of this whole adventure, Tiffany had discovered an entry in their mom's journal describing a recent excavation at Dabness Castle. At the castle, their parents had uncovered several significant finds. The first was a small green globe with 2 inscriptions etched across its surface. The name of a planet, Evad, and 2 coordinates, neither of which were Evad's galactic location, but which were possibly coordinates on the planet itself. Alone, this discovery didn't warrant an immediate trip to the planet. However, when coupled with the next discovery, it suggested something significant awaited them there. On the last day at Dabness Castle, their parents had discovered an ancient book bound in crimson leather, the contents of which were unknown to Oliver. It was this very book the Ubel Captain Vedrick had taken when he had abducted Oliver's parents. The captain had somehow known of the Wikk's discovery and called the book priceless. Priceless. Mr. O'Farrell had said the Ubel were the wealthiest organization, save the Federation. So for something to be priceless to the Ubel captain was significant. It only deepened Oliver's intrigue in what information the book might hold. Rescuing his parents was Oliver's top priority, but how he would accomplish this goal was still in question. Without knowing much of their destination, or how large Vedrick's contingent of soldiers was, Oliver couldn't conceive a thorough plan. A lump formed in his throat. Of course, if his parents didn't go to Evad, or had already been and left, he had no idea how he'd find them. That fact, however, he could not and would not share with his sisters and brothers. They clung to the hope of finding their parents. Since the Phoenix was currently zipping through space in hyperflight, contacting Mr. O'Farrell was out of the question. At least Oliver and his siblings were safe, even if for just that moment. Oliver tapped the screen to see the time remaining in hyperflight, and his mouth curled into a frown. 2 hours might not seem like much, but under the circumstances it felt like an eternity. He involuntarily yawned and stretched as he stood from the pilot seat. His sister and twin brothers had headed to the galley a few minutes ago and were waiting for him. He stepped into the lavatory on his way and splashed a few handfuls of cold water onto his face. The mirror reflected a very different Oliver from the one who'd left to be a cadet at the Federal Academy nearly a year prior. He'd just turned 17, but already dark stubble grew like moss on his squared chin by the end of the day. His brown eyes had dark rims from previous near-sleepless nights. His biceps were sore from the past day's trials, the last of which had taken place a mere half-hour before, when he'd scrambled up the rope ladder to escape the horde of blue soldiers. Looking in the mirror was like seeing his father. He sighed and nodded. Oliver not only looked like an adult, he had to act like one.